Have you ever wondered what the Bible really says about getting rich? We live in a society where the accumulation of wealth is often seen as the greatest indicator of success. But is this idea in line with biblical teachings? Is the desire for more encouraged or discouraged in the scriptures? Prepare to be surprised, because what we are going to explore today may challenge some of your deepest beliefs. The truth is that the topic of wealth and money has always been surrounded by controversy and varied interpretations. Since ancient times, human beings' relationship with money has been marked by tensions and moral dilemmas. While some believe that accumulating wealth is a sign of divine blessing, others see the desire for more as a trap that leads us astray from the spiritual path. And where does the Bible stand on this spectrum? Does it celebrate material prosperity or warn against the dangers of being seduced by the glitter of gold? In this video, we'll dive deep into the pages of the most widely read and interpreted book in the world, seeking to understand what it really says about getting rich. From the words of Solomon, considered one of the richest and wisest men of all time, to the teachings of Jesus, who walked among the poor and preached detachment, we'll unravel the nuances and contexts that shape these teachings. We'll explore whether there's a clear line, or whether, like so many other issues, the topic of wealth is full of layers and complexities that demand deeper reflection. And as we do so, stay tuned. You may discover that the real treasure is not what's in our bank accounts, but something much more valuable. Something that transcends the material and touches the immaterial. The promise the Bible offers, after all, may not be that of earthly riches, but of much more lasting wealth. Are you ready for this journey? Then let's get started. The Bible mentions money and wealth countless times, but the context is always crucial. Often, the passages that address the topic are more focused on the attitude towards money than on the act of owning things. In the Old Testament, for example, we find Abraham and Job, both described as men of great wealth, but who were also extremely devoted to God. Their wealth is seen as a blessing, but not as an end in itself. In Job's life, the story takes another twist, showing that faith and righteousness are tested, and that wealth can be both a gift and a test. The New Testament, on the other hand, presents a perspective that many may consider more critical in relation to wealth. Jesus, in his sermons, never tires of warning about the dangers of the love of money. He even says that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. This does not mean that Jesus condemns wealth in itself, but rather the attachment to it, and the way it can divert the human heart from what is truly important. Another interesting point is the concept of stewardship, which appears several times in the scriptures. The idea here is that everything we possess, including our money and possessions, is a gift from God and should be used wisely and generously. This notion that we are merely stewards of wealth and not its owners can completely change the way we view money. Instead of seeing wealth as something to be accumulated and saved, the Bible encourages us to see money as a tool for good, to help others, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. In many places, the Bible also warns about economic injustice and exploitation. In the book of Amos, for example, the rich are condemned for exploiting the poor and for living in luxury at the expense of oppression. And the New Testament continues this line of thought, with James severely criticizing those who accumulate wealth at the expense of workers and the needy. There is a clear message that wealth, if not accompanied by justice and generosity, can become a curse rather than a blessing. But the Bible also talks about hard work, diligence, and the wisdom of preparing for the future. The book of Proverbs is filled with passages that encourage hard work and financial prudence. "Go to the ant, you sluggard," says one proverb, extolling diligence and planning. The message here is clear. Work is a virtue, and it is right and just to be rewarded for effort. So where does all this leave us? The Bible, in its complexity and richness of texts, offers a multifaceted view of money and wealth. It recognizes the value of material prosperity, but always warns, don't let money become your master. Use it for good, share it, and never lose sight of what is truly important. Wealth itself is not condemned, but the love of money, greed, and injustice certainly are. As we navigate these teachings, it is important to remember that the interpretation of biblical texts is often influenced by the cultural and historical context of those who read them. What remains clear, however, is that the Bible offers wisdom that transcends the centuries, the call to live a life of integrity, generosity, and humility. And perhaps in the end, this is the true richness we should all seek. And it is precisely this spiritual richness that the Bible often foregrounds. When we read about the Beatitudes, for example, we are reminded that blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This kind of poverty does not refer to a lack of material possessions, but to a humility and openness to acknowledge the need for something greater than oneself. The Bible seems to guide us toward an understanding that while material riches may provide temporary comfort, they can never replace the true satisfaction that comes from a life lived with purpose and in harmony with God's principles. In addition, we must consider the social impact of our actions with money. In the book of Acts, we read about the early Christian community who shared everything they had, ensuring that no one went without. This practice of sharing was not just a reflection of generosity, but a powerful testimony to a new way of living, where a person's worth was not measured by what they had, but by who they were and how they treated others. This example challenges us to rethink how we use our resources today. Are we investing in things that really matter? Are we helping to build a more just and loving world? Or are we simply hoarding for our own benefit? And as we look to the future, what does the Bible suggest we do about wealth? There is a constant emphasis on focusing not on riches that rust or can be stolen, but on those that last for eternity. Jesus talks about storing up treasures in heaven where nothing can destroy them. This may sound a bit abstract, but in essence, it is an invitation to invest in things that have eternal value, like love, compassion, and justice. The real challenge is figuring out how to live these principles in our daily lives, balancing material needs with a rich and meaningful spiritual life. Did you like this video? Want to know more about what the Bible says about other everyday topics? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, and activate the bell so you don't miss any content. Here, we always seek to bring reflections that help us better understand life and the world around us. Until next time.